Hello, podcast listeners. We know podcasts are a great way to catch up on a program that you may have missed on KSJE, and it's provided as a free service of this radio station. But you know, KSJE is now listener supported, and so while you enjoy this podcast, we hope that you'll also take some time to join KSJE. Become a member today. It's quite easy to do. Just go to our website at ksje.com/support and pick the level of support that best matches your budget. Thanks again for listening. Here's your podcast. This program is supported by San Juan Health Partners Urology, providing a wide range of personalized services for the whole family, including children. Our caring professionals are dedicated to helping meet your urology health needs with skill, experience, and service you need. For a complete listing of our services and to learn more, visit sanjuanhealthpartners.com or call 505-609-6300. San Juan Health Partners Urology, a division of San Juan Regional Medical Center. Well, let me turn to my guest who is here with me this morning. Russel Florez is here, the Director of IT for Bloomfield Schools. And good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for being here.
How are you?
I'm well, thanks.
Thanks for having me.
Talking about technology, what about, you got all these shiny things in here, right?
I know. This is really nice.
Kind of cool, huh?
Very cool.
Yeah. So we appreciate you being here because technology does play a role in education, whether it's keeping kids safe and helping teachers and staff communicate to helping students learn in the classroom, right? And you're in charge of all that.
Yes. Yeah. We try to be.
Yeah. Most of the times it works pretty well.
It does. Yes. Yeah. We work hard to make sure kids have what they need, staff have what they need, teachers in the classroom.
Right.
It's always a revolving door of equipment. As legacy things go away, new things come into play, and so we're constantly doing new things.
And the big question always is, how do you pay for it, right?
Right. Normally we use either a bond or 2 mil, and of course the 2 mil didn't pass this last vote, so that'll hurt us some. But we're making plans to how to remedy that, and hopefully we can go out for that again in the fall.
Right.
Yeah.
And get the support of residents in the Bloomfield School District.
Correct.
For that, because that does pay for a lot of the stuff that you use, right, and students use.
Correct. That pays for technology and maintenance of the buildings and facilities. So it's a big part of what we do, and of the maintenance and operations side of the house.
Right.
But it was a close vote.
It was very close in
right.
Bloomfield. I'm trying to remember, maybe 70
it was
votes,
like 70
I think.
or 71 votes.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
We're just going to try to get the word out, and we know our community supports us very well, so we just we'll go out in the fall again, hopefully.
Okay, very good. But another way I know that you've tried to keep technology affordable is partnering with Google.
Correct.
Right?
So
because they
right.
provide things that maybe you wouldn't be able to afford otherwise.
Correct, which is all free for Bloomfield Schools. So we're in our 5th year, I believe, being a Google for Education district. And that gives us our email, all our file storage, lots of free tools for staff, and then all those same free tools for students to use in the classroom.
And that's it has to be a great benefit, right? I mean, I know some folks maybe love to hate Google, or they're one of the big tech companies, and folks get a little concerned about that. But
right.
They do have this separate part of the business that does team up and partner with school districts.
Correct. And ads that you normally see in a regular Gmail account, that kind of stuff isn't in there.
Right.
So it's very focused on education. We use one of the tools called Google Classroom, and it's a communication tool for the teacher and the students in the classroom. We're trying to get better with that, and we have a lot of teachers that are starting to use that.
How many years have you been using Google in the classroom?
This is our 5th year.
Okay. And so you must be pleased with what you're getting.
We are, yeah. For what we're doing in the past, we have more tools now than we used to.
Right.
And the cost is better, obviously. So along with that, we are trying to get our 4th Google Summit back to Bloomfield Schools. We've been hosting that. We hosted it for 3 years now. Where Google's trainers come in for 2 days, and they have all kinds of sessions. It's really a fun event. We're trying to get that scheduled for the beginning of June.
Okay.
And we haven't confirmed that yet.
And is that just a school event, or is it open to the community?
It's open to anybody who wants to register.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
To learn more about using their tools and
all
their programs,
tools.
I suppose?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Everything that's free that comes in that suite of products.
Right.
Yeah.
And so for an IT director, it must be working pretty well. I mean, again, you monitor things and see how many complaints you get or non-complaints about things that are working the way it's supposed to, and after 5 years, it's still going well.
It's still going well, yes. And part of the reason why for us it goes well is we have Chromebooks We have a little over 2,000 of them that we use in our district, and they go really well with Google for Education. The student signs into their Chromebook, and then they have everything they need. Tomorrow they can sign into a different one, and they have everything they need. So it works well for learning purposes, and then of course we use those for online testing as well.
And so these are basically a Google product, right? It's a Google small little laptop, right?
Correct. There's different brands, but they're branded as Google products,
right?
Basically.
But run on a pretty efficient operating system and things along that line.
Correct.
Right.
They don't get
battery life is really good.
Right. They don't get viruses. Their startup time is within seconds. Very low maintenance. We have to buy a license per each one, so we can manage those through what's called a console. But it makes it easier for our team to manage those since we have so many.
Right.
Yeah.
And you mentioned you have about 2,000 for the district.
Correct. Around 2,200.
And so staff uses them and students, or just students?
Just students.
Just students for those. And so if I'm a student, which I'm not, and haven't been in a number of years, but I could go into a class, my math class, and log into this Chromebook and see my work. And then if I needed to go to like history class, I could log into a different Chromebook and still see my same settings and work and all that. That's what they're designed to do.
Correct. Yeah, exactly.
And they work pretty well.
Right.
Students
and they
like
have
them?
all the tools. So they have, it's very similar to Microsoft Office. So they have the doc program. It's called Sheets for Excel.
Right.
Calendaring, email. So they have a lot of productivity type tools that the students learn to use, and the concepts and learning menus and things like that, they're kind of the same as Office. So if they open Office, they'll be able to navigate around pretty good. So,
Sure.
Yeah.
What's the grade level we're talking about that use these things? Is it mostly in the high school, or does it go into the middle schools too?
No, and we have them all the way to our pre-K school.
Do you really? Okay.
Yeah.
So even those young kids are working on a computer.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And these are, I would think, important skills for even someone in kindergarten or younger grades to learn from an early age, because they're going to be dealing with a mouse and keyboard for the next 80 years.
Correct, right. And most of them have the touchpad mouse,
right,
which is a little bit difficult for the younger kids to get, but they can get regular mouses to attach to that.
Sure.
But it's really neat to see the kids, they do a lot of short cycle assessment stuff using these devices. And then they have like learning games that they do at the younger levels.
Right.
Reading and math type activities. And then, obviously, as they get older, they start doing some other stuff with them. So,
and I can hear the parents who are watching us and listening to us this morning, Russell, saying, back in my day, we didn't have these learning games on a computer.
Right.
We would just have a pen and paper, or maybe a pencil, number 2 pencil for that matter.
Right.
But this is really a new way that kids are learning today, is it not?
Correct.
We're not the MTV generation anymore, but they still have access to video games and a lot of visual stimulation,
right?
Which I would assume these things really help with.
Yes, they do, and we try to filter out as best we can the stuff that's non-productive and that they shouldn't be doing. But it is a great learning tool. They're just tools, and when used appropriately, they work really well. Kids engage, and when kids engage, they're learning. So
right.
Yeah.
And that's what the studies have shown. I imagine a lot of this is backed up by data.
Correct.
And I know Dr. Mizell could probably go into hours with me about the data and what it shows for kids learning with computers and computer-assisted teaching and learning.
Right. And our role in IT has changed quite a bit over the years. I mean, we used to focus a lot on the end devices, so laptops and Chromebooks, and taking care of those. And a lot of those have become easier to manage. So our focus has kind of shifted to making sure the infrastructure is in place to manage however many devices come onto the network at any given time.
Right.
So we spend a lot of time and energy making sure the infrastructure is good in terms of switches and routers, the internet connectivity we have, filtering, all the stuff for safety purposes, and we kind of focus on that a little bit more now that any device can be changed in and out, and we can have all kinds of different ones on the network at a time.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. My guest, Russel Florez, is here. He is the IT director for the Bloomfield School District. And as we talk about having 2,200 Chromebooks that are running on your network or any type of infrastructure, that is a full-time job of managing all those devices, right?
Right.
That you're making sure. And again, as you mentioned, to make sure those students aren't getting into places where they're not supposed to be getting with those school computers.
Correct. Right. Yeah.
That seems like a full-time job.
It's a lot. Yeah. We have a great staff we've been there for a while together, and we feed off each other well. And constantly learning new things and trying new things, testing stuff out. We try to be as responsive as we can every day. So, but it's fun and it keeps us busy.
Sure.
Yeah.
And having all those machines on a network at the same time, or using the Wi-Fi, or and being able to access online tools and things like that, that is another test of your infrastructure, is it not?
Correct. Yes. So we've spent a lot of energy and resources over the last few years to getting a better infrastructure in place. We have 3 gig to our schools now, and that's a big internet pipe for us.
Right.
It kind of equates to about 1 meg per student, which is kind of the national standard of where they want us to be. So we're right there with that. And then, of course, all the devices that filter that down to the school level into the classroom. So
Big tubes for the internet at Bloomfield
that's
Schools.
right. Big freeways.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
They're not going to get clogged anytime soon.
Hopefully not.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good to know. That's true. And again, you talked about using these things, these computers for assessments, for testing. And so, again, you want to make sure everything's running and working properly. If a student is taking a test, an important measure of what they've learned.
Exactly. Yeah, we don't want that test to be interrupted or have any kind of network infrastructure issue during those times, especially during those times. So we try to test and be prepared as best as we can. Park is kind of going away with the new political scene in New Mexico. So whatever is developed, I'm sure it'll be similar to that, where we can continue to use these devices for testing.
Because the park was all online, was it not?
Correct. And whatever is replaced will be online.
Right.
And I think they kind of know what's coming already. So we'll just be prepared for that come April.
Sure. But ready to go. And as you said, you've got
Correct.
2,200 of these things that the students can use.
Right. And then we have other labs that we can utilize as well, PC labs.
Right.
We've slowly tried to phase those out over time since we've been getting so many of the Chromebooks that are more mobile. They're less expensive and they work just as well.
Sure. Yeah. Is that your ultimate goal, is to have Chromebooks for each student maybe eventually?
Yes. Yeah, we'd love to have a Chromebook cart of 25 to 30 in each classroom and virtually eliminate labs and let the schools use those spaces for something else.
Got you.
But it would be nice to have throughout a child's day in the school, they're ready and available to use whenever they need.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so we've talked a little bit about how the students can use these things, but what about your teachers? I imagine it's a tool for them as well. And when every student in their class has access to this technology, the excuse of, well, I didn't have access to the computer doesn't fly in the classroom anymore.
Sure. And we're not one-to-one yet, so we do still have times where teachers don't have access to that kind of stuff. But we're getting better every year. But it is a great tool for them to utilize for their students. Primarily, like we said before, it engages that student. So if it's used in the appropriate manner, it could really help their learning day.
Sure.
But teachers have laptops, PCs.
Right.
We use Dells.
Mm-hmm.
So, their machine's a little bit more robust. But they certainly know about the Chromebooks and how to use them and what features they have for kids.
Sure.
Yeah.
But they can assign a project or something that can be completed using these Chromebooks or
Absolutely.
the technology, or students can work together or what have you.
Absolutely, yeah.
And all have this access to the same type of machine.
Correct. And then they use the Google suite of products to kind of collaborate and bring that kind of stuff together.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. So
Right.
very exciting. We talk about safety. That's another thing I wanted to ask you a little bit about, and how your department can help with that on all campuses in Bloomfield.
Sure. So we've, from the IT point of view, we've kind of upgraded some of our door access control systems for the card readers that everybody has to wear.
Right. To know who's coming in and coming out.
Correct. And we've installed quite a few more of those in various schools, particularly the high school. The high school now has a fence around with gates, and each one of those gates has a access control system. So it allows people that have access to come and go freely, and then obviously it's closed off.
Right.
We've upgraded cameras, so we have quite a few more cameras in the district, around 300 cameras total. Again, most of those are at the high school, just primarily because of the size of that campus.
And that is security type cameras and video surveillance and things like that. And you can
Correct.
You can review some of that footage, I suppose, if there's a problem.
Yes, we can go back and kind of see what happened and use that for documentation purposes, or teaching moments, or whatever the case may be. Part of that is we have a partnership with San Juan County, so they can access these cameras, all of our cameras, whenever there is an emergency. And that's something that's new that we're proud to be able to partner with.
A real-time surveillance, I suppose, to
Correct.
see if there's a report of something fishy going on. They can
Right,
they can
and
tune in.
Fortunately, we haven't had anything ourselves yet,
Good.
but that availability is there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. And it's amazing how much your job probably has expanded with some of this technology. We talk about door locks. I imagine you probably didn't think you'd be in the door lock business,
Right.
when you got into this line of work. And now
Right.
here you are talking about door locks and surveillance cameras and things like that.
Right, and it's really the behind the scenes work because of that keeps us busy. I mean, most of our critical systems that we have, and any district really now, it runs on the network. So all
Right.
these access controls are run on the network. The cameras are running on the network. Obviously, everything that we've been talking about already versus for the classroom is on the network. Even things like our heating and cooling communicates via our network.
Right.
So that infrastructure, and that's kind of what we're talking about earlier. We spend so much time on our network and our infrastructure and making sure things are good that because we really can't afford for that to be down.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's how those internet tubes get filled with stuff.
That's right. That's right.
I keep going back to that silly analogy.
It works.
Yeah. But that's why you need that big pipeline, right?
Right.
To handle all that traffic that's going back and forth, whether it's talking door locks or kids, students, Chromebooks in the classroom.
Correct.
They're all using that same network.
Correct. And the 3 gig is the main internet pipe to come into the district. And then, of course, some of that, or a lot of that traffic that we're talking about now,
Localized, isn't it?
Localized on the WAN. So, and we have one more school we're trying to connect via fiber, our Blanco Elementary School, and hopefully that'll be done soon. But that project is ongoing. So we have fiber that connects all of our schools except Blanco, which will be soon.
Right.
But in doing that internet internal pipe is really big. So
Sure.
we don't have any traffic latency issues as more things come on the network.
Right.
Yeah.
But you bring up a great point about having a location in Blanco where maybe the infrastructure isn't quite as robust as it would be in the city of Bloomfield.
Right, which right now, as soon as the fiber connection is there, it'll be just like the school is in town.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you get inside, their computer lab is really, really good. They have a lot of Chromebooks there. So once that fiber connection is there, right now it's a radio wave connection that we use.
Right.
So we go from tower to tower to tower to get out there. So that won't be needed here pretty soon. So once that's in place, it'll be just like it's right there in town.
Sure.
Yeah.
And fiber offers a lot of growth potential, does it not? I mean, that pipe is
Absolutely.
huge, right?
Yes.
So
it's really limitless.
For future growth, I mean, it will really accommodate whatever you can throw at it.
Correct. And all we really have to worry about is the end connectivity appliances and
Right.
upgrading that. But the actual line itself it'll be good for a long time.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. Let's take a short break. I know you've got some projects that you want to talk about too.
Sure.
That are coming
Yeah.
in the future.
Yeah.
So when we come back, more with my guest, Russel Florez from Bloomfield Schools, right here on KSJE. The time right now, everybody, is coming up on 8:30. This program is supported by San Juan Regional Medical Center, who's expanding its services to offer low-cost blood screenings all year round, now offering walk-in convenience to get the blood tests you want when you want them. MyLabs, patient-ordered testing, is available in Farmington at the hospital's laboratory and the Outpatient Diagnostic Center on 30th Street. Also in Aztec at San Juan Health Partners Family Medicine at 120 Llano Street. With nearly 20 tests available, there's an option for everyone. MyLabs, patient-ordered testing, a wellness service of San Juan Regional Medical Center. I'm Scott Michlin. My guest on the radio this morning, Russel Florez, is here. He is the IT director for Bloomfield Schools. We've been talking a little bit about technology and education and how that is really changing and I think helping the way students are learning today in schools across the state, across the country. And as a plug, we've got CyberCon happening here at San Juan College later on this week, tomorrow and Thursday. A great opportunity for folks to learn more about careers in technology services and and security and internet safety and all those types of things that you deal with 24/7, I would think.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
I imagine there are a lot of people that would love to hack into your system.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know what they'd get, but there's
A lot of data.
right?
Sure. Yeah.
It is valuable. So
Yes.
so that's something you have to be aware of all the time. You mentioned that these Chromebooks that you use are virus proof pretty much, right? I mean, they're kind of designed.
So far, yes. That's kind of how they're designed.
I'm going to knock on wood for you.
That's right. Thank you. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But that is a concern for anyone in IT, right? Is keeping your network safe, your software and hardware safe as students and teachers are using it?
Yes. Yeah. And we're actually going to, me and my staff are going to a training this summer in June for just that.
Okay.
Just to kind of stay abreast of all the issues, make sure we're doing everything we need to do, crossing the T's and dotting the I's kind of thing, and benchmarking ourselves a little bit and making sure that our appliances and the things on our network are about as safe as they can be.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is important because I don't think you have to look very far. City of Farmington, we're looking at you to see what happens when you have some machines that are vulnerable. And I think the city had some ransomware and they had to take everything offline and try to clean everything out. So nobody wants to get involved with that.
Right, exactly. It's from an IT point of view, it's a nightmare.
Right.
It's a moving target as well, and we've been lucky so far, and hopefully we can continue that. Eventually, I think everybody has those moments, and hopefully for the city of Farmington, they won't have another.
That's true. Let's hope so.
And hopefully we don't have ours. So
exactly.
You
But you have some projects in the works, right, to add to the suite of things that Bloomfield Schools offers online?
Yes, we are kind of kicking off online registration for new students and their families. That'll be coming later in April. We've been kind of pilot testing that a little bit. So it's a way of re-enrolling your student for next year, updating your information, and then enrolling if you're brand new to Bloomfield Schools.
Okay.
And in a digital way. So right now we still use paper packets that we send home, registration packets year after year. And for the parents and the staff, we just feel like it's time to move on from that.
Sure.
And get a little more digital with it. So we're excited about that. It'll be a change for all of us, a little culture change for all of us, but I think the parents will find that it'll be a lot easier.
Right.
Especially to re-enroll for the next year, re-register.
Cool.
And updating that information.
Very good. And would paper still be an option, I guess, for a parent, or is it going to be online only?
It will still be an option. We're strongly going to encourage not to use paper, but it can be still an option. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. But you'd like everyone to kind of take advantage of this online
we
opportunity.
Would. Yeah. We just think the benefits are just a lot better than filling out a piece of paper.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right. And I know you've been working on websites too. And when you talk about a school district, that may include multiple sites for different schools and things like that?
Correct. So we just completed a new redesign of our district and school website. So it's a little over 100 pages total that we redid. And it's kind of a larger effort. Our administration office has been using social media quite a bit more with Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. We're trying to communicate messages, good messages, events, all that kind of stuff. And the website design was just a piece of that.
Sure.
That was about an 8-month project that we just finished about a month ago.
And with any website, it seems that it's really important to keep it updated or to be able to update it easily, or maybe have other folks be able to do it so it doesn't all fall to you and your staff to
Correct.
Update web pages or widgets on a web page or things like that, right?
Right. It's very important for us to keep content fresh. People won't go to your website if it's not fresh. And we have a lot of information that we can share with the community that normally may not get out. And now with social media, we can hit different avenues, kind of with the same message, and whatever avenue the community member uses, they should be able to see that news.
Right.
The system is built to give access to in-district users for particular updating of their own areas, and that's kind of what we like. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And having that, I guess, consistent message too across all platforms, right? Whether I'm looking at a Bloomfield Schools Facebook page, and maybe I can go to the website and get more details from a post I saw on Facebook or what have you.
Correct. Yeah, it's really important for us to have that same branding, so to speak, of the messages that come across.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to ask you a bit about online grading and things like that, and then tools that parents can use. I know that's been around for a number of years. That's not necessarily new, but it still is a feature that parents these days have that maybe our parents didn't have when we were in school. It
Right.
was just the paper report card that may or may not have gotten lost on the way home. I don't know what happened, Mom.
Right. That's right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
The dog ate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you don't have that. You don't have that excuse. It's on the
That's right.
computer, right?
Right,
Parents can
right.
check your grades.
So we use PowerSchool as our student system, and part of that is a portal for parents, and they're able to access attendance records or grade records at any given time, mostly for secondary. Elementary, not so much. Some of them use it for that purpose, and secondary uses it for grading purposes.
Right.
I think we are still using progress reports in some fashion to kind of supplement that. I'm sure eventually we'll get to where it's just digital only.
Right.
The online registration system that's coming online will also feed into that, so a parent can log into their parent portal through PowerSchool and then be able to update and register their student for next year. And that'll be coming, like I said, like in April.
Right.
Around April 8th or so. So
Okay.
that'll be a good feature to add to it.
Watch for that. And this also, I would assume, if not this program, another one gives you the opportunity to communicate to parents if there's an issue happening at a school or bad weather or a delay or a closing, right? Is that something you can use for that?
Yes, they can do that. They could talk directly to the parents, and mostly that's a parent to student or a teacher communication.
Right.
So a parent can log in and communicate with a teacher via that portal
Gotcha.
anytime they want.
And does that hook into a phone system to maybe make calls to parents if there's a school delay or closing or something?
The new website does.
I see.
So the same company that manages our robocall system also is managing the website.
Gotcha.
Or we manage the website, but it's their product.
Right.
So now we can have multiple messages go out, whether it's an emergency or just an event, and hit different channels through the same system.
Which is helpful.
It's very helpful.
So I would think if folks keep their phone numbers updated, do you find a problem with that? Do you send calls out that don't go anywhere?
Yeah, we have that. I'm not sure what the percentage is of
Right.
numbers that don't exist anymore or people haven't updated their information. We strongly encourage, and I know the schools try to do a good job of making sure things are getting updated, but sometimes that's a battle in itself. But if anybody's listening out there, please update your information. It's just helpful for us to be able to have current. You never know when you need a phone number.
Sure.
So it's just nice to have updated information.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. Just have a couple of minutes remaining this morning, Russel Florez. And so any predictions on what's next for technology in schools, or do you have a wish list of things you'd love to have besides computers for every student?
Sure. Big wish list.
Right. Dr. Mizell, are you listening?
Well, the two big things that we always are concerned with is having a 1-to-1 device to student ratio.
Right.
Not too long ago, we had a lot of smart boards in the district, interactive boards that were in the classrooms where kids can go up and touch and interact and move things around and do things. We feel like that's going away over time if the technology is in their hands. So if we can get a 1-to-1 device to the student, things like that won't be needed as much. And then a lot of stuff that we're moving to over time is cloud-based services, whether that's software for learning in the classroom, curriculum-wise, or testing, or the systems that we use. I mean, our finance software is now completely online. So everything's kind of moving in that direction. So it just makes it more important for us to have that infrastructure in place 24/7.
Right. And that makes some people nervous when they talk about cloud-based anything, whether it's email or photo storage or financial reports, whatever you're talking about. But
right.
I know there are pros and cons, I suppose, on both sides. Probably more pros because you're going for it, right?
Yes, we feel there's more pros, and the experience for the end user, I think, is better. The concerns are very valid. There are always concerns when the cloud kind of starts continues to kind of take over, and more things are up there. It's kind of an unmovable train to me. So
it's happening.
We try to embrace it as best we can
Sure.
and do our due diligence when we do something new, and test out products as best we can and kind of go from there.
Lots of built-in security and redundancy, though, I think, in a lot of these cloud services, so that takes it off of your back maybe when it's someone else's
Correct.
issue, right, to
Right.
keep track of these things.
Right.
Okay.
And it changes kind of how what we do in IT. We're not as much hardware focused as we used to be. So now we're more service oriented for all those different kind of products and services and things that are available for staff and students.
Right.
Yeah.
Very exciting. Lots of new technology, lots of new opportunities,
Always
I think,
something, yeah.
for students and teachers and staff.
Right.
It sounds like to me. So,
Yeah,
great.
absolutely.
Russell, thanks for coming in this morning.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Russel Florez, he is the IT director for Bloomfield Schools, my guest here on KSJE. Did you enjoy that podcast? We hope that you did. And if you did, share it with your friends. And if you really want to keep podcasts like this coming, please support KSJE. You can do it easily online at ksje.com.